Hi everyone, for those who don't know me, my name is Peter Llewellyn. I run the services at MedCommsNetworking.com and the associated websites for the global MedComms community, by which I mean people who work in and around medical education, medical communications and medical publishing. And you'll find we specifically provide lots of resources at FirstMedCommsJob.com for anyone who wants to learn more about the business, including videos like this one. Today I'm joined by Matt Evans, agency lead at 7.4 Limited, which is one of the AMICULUM agencies, and he'll tell us about the opportunities they provide for new starters in MedComms. So over to you, Matt. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Peter. So I'll share my slides. Okay, hello everyone. My name is Matt Evans. I'm going to tell you a little bit about AMICULUM. Established in 2001, AMICULUM is an independent healthcare communications and consultancy business. We employ over 250 people across 13 locations. In the UK, that's London, Oxford, Brighton, Manchester, Bollington, and Dundee. AMICULUM is composed of a range of different agencies and teams. Some are what we call full service, others have particular specialisms, and that lets us build a tailored team or the mix of the expertise that we need depending on what it is that the client wants. For some projects, all the work will be delivered solely by one agency. For others, it will be a mix. It's whatever best suits. One agency not shown on here is our newest, which launched about a week or so ago, which is our market access agency. What is nice about AMICULUM, to dive straight into differences between perhaps the different setups and agencies, is although we have a common ethos, the agencies do have their own personalities. We're not sort of carbon copies of each other. The business has been built from the ground up rather than through mergers and acquisitions, which is helpful when you're trying to maintain a consistent culture. So I'm agency lead for 7.4, one of the full service agencies. I've been with AMICULUM for about 10 years, on the 1st of June, in fact. In terms of my path into MedComms, it's quite common, I suppose, in that I did a PhD and a couple of postdocs and realized I wanted a career in science, but couldn't see a long-term future in research. So at that time, there was a small advert in the back of New Scientist magazine. There wasn't any resources like FirstMedCommsJob, and it was advertising for medical writers. I didn't really know what that was. Sounded quite interesting. So I applied and entered healthcare communications and have been there ever since. And I've worked my way through various writing and editorial roles, ending up leading the 7.4 team, which is about 30 people who are based mainly in the Oxford office, although at the moment everybody is working at home. In terms of what we actually do, I'm not going to spend too long on that because we can list off a whole bunch of project types, but they won't mean a great deal to you without a lot of lengthy explanation about what they are. We haven't really got the time for that. So I'll just say that we operate in all the areas that you would expect for a healthcare communications business. And in delivering these services to our clients, you would get to engage with healthcare professionals from all around the world across various specialties. You may also get to interact with medical societies, regulatory authorities, patient organizations, and lots of other audiences. So Peter has asked that we assume that you've done a bit of research into what MedComms is and what we do, focus a little bit more on what makes us different and what we're looking for from you. There are various characteristics that can differentiate agencies. Are they full service or specialist? Do they support global teams within their pharmaceutical client company or an individual market or region? Are they small or large? Are they independent or beholden to shareholders, standalone, etc.? One isn't inherently better than the other. It's all about personal preference. However, in terms of deciding where it is you might like to work, I always think a lot of these characteristics only become informative once you've been in the industry for a little while and you've experienced the different scenarios or talked to people who have, and you can then choose which is the best for you. Plus, when you're starting out, I appreciate that half the time you're just trying to get your foot in the door and you don't really care about how the agency is structured in the beginning. But what is worth trying to find out from day one is the culture, because that has a big impact on your progression. MedComms can be stressful. We should be honest about that. We've got clients, we've got deadlines, things get busy. So you need to be somewhere that is supportive, is friendly, is collaborative, and is going to pull together to get you through those periods. Obviously, I think AMICULUM is, otherwise I wouldn't work there. Now, I know that culture is quite hard to determine from the outside. You know, it's not really featured a great deal on people's websites. So if you can look at the materials on FirstMedCommsJob where people describe their life in the different agencies, particularly the new starters. If you get a chance to go to careers events or comes to things like this, then by all means have a chat and try and ask about the culture and drill down into that, because it will play a big part in how successful you are. The other key thing to consider is how the company approaches career progression, training and development. And my computer's frozen. There we go. At AMICULUM, as with many MedComms agencies, a large part of your training will be on the job. That's not as shirking, trying to do formal training with you and trying to get out of that. It's just the fact that you will learn the most by doing the work, supported by your colleagues, and then passing on their experience. We don't abandon you, and we don't throw you in at the deep end on the hardest projects. So your path through that will be planned and guided by the leads on the account that you're on and your line manager. At AMICULUM, we also get you going straight away. Some people do things slightly differently. I personally think that I'm not going to make you work on a fake project when I've got live work that needs doing, but others do, I know, do a bit more of a formal training program and an intro before you get going on live work. We do acknowledge, though, that it's a strange new world. There's a lot to learn. There's a lot of jargon, and a lot of times it's tricky when you've been in MedComms a while to forget just how much you don't know when someone starts. So we do a lot of training activities as well. Some of these will be one-to-one. Some of them are classroom sessions with other new starters. And there are also training modules that you can complete at your own pace. And these are delivered via our online development hub, which is called Curriculum. That's open to the whole company. It's not just new starters. That's actually my homepage in the middle there. You can see all the courses I've enrolled but not finished. And it contains all sorts of interactive training content related to MedComms, to pharma, drug development, but also broader topics like communication skills, data visualization, statistics, learning theory, many more. And so you get a pathway set for you through that sets out the modules you should do, which is tailored based on the agency you've joined and the role that you're doing. Another thing that's slightly different about AMICULUM is our roles are not defined by very strict job titles. People have roles that you think of traditionally in terms of writer, editor, account manager, and so forth, but we don't have a lot of granular detail about that. We tend to plot people's path a little bit more freeform. We've also got systems in place for sharing experience as you go. So obviously you're learning all the time. People are picking up new experiences all the time, good and bad, and projects go well or not. So we have various lunch and learns. We have intercompany Yammer channels where people post case studies. We also have an annual meeting where we all get together. It's in a few weeks, so that'll be virtual also. So we'll see how the technology goes for that one. And like most companies, we have annual performance reviews and objective setting, and also a very separate career conversation where we have a very open format and we try and drill down to what it is that people actually want to do, not necessarily what they think they should do or that they assume is next. And that can be quite helpful. So what are we looking for? Well, we're assuming that the majority of you are looking at entry-level writer roles, but these would apply to other roles as well. There's editor, editorial assistant, account management, account executive, so forth. I'm hoping most of these are fairly self-explanatory, but the ones I would just emphasize are adaptability. If you like knowing exactly what your plans are for the day or the week and you get stressed when they change, MedComms is not for you, because priorities shift sometimes within the same day and you have to be able to adapt and still be able to perform. Organizational skills. So projects go through many different people internally within the agency. So after you've done your first draft, it will get reviewed, it might get edited. It obviously goes via various people externally, your clients are in the pharma company, the healthcare professionals you're interacting with and working with. In addition to that, projects have a timeline, usually, and projects have a budget that will have been agreed at the outset with the client, which are based on the hours that you spend. So being diligent actually with your timesheets could be another criteria that we put on the slide here. Obviously, the scope of project changes and conversations are always had with clients about budgets and timelines and things, but otherwise you tend to have a set amount of time to do your particular task. So you need to be organized. You can't take forever and disappear down a PubMed rabbit hole researching endless papers, which is something people that come from academia sometimes struggle with initially. Communication skills. I just mentioned how many people you will interact with over the course of a project, over the course of a day. So learning how to read people and adjust your communication accordingly is key, particularly when we're engaging with our clients and the healthcare professionals that we're dealing with. Some people will get offended if you don't ask them how their weekend was and have a lot of preamble before you get to the question of what you're trying to ask them. Others just want one line in an email, no preamble, tell me what you want and move on. So teamwork, it's a very collaborative industry. People support each other. You need to play your part in that. And that links back to the adaptability as well, because there's very much a sense in the best teams that you just do what needs to be done to get the job done without being too precious about roles. So I've mentioned that the job can be stressful, but it is very rewarding. It's scientifically and creatively engaging. You get to travel in most instances, usually. You get to interact with a lot of different professionals. You get to deep dive into a lot of different therapy areas. So it is a very good career to be in. And if you've got these attributes and you can get your start in the industry, then I think you'll find it a rewarding career too. So I will end up with just a couple of links to some resources where you can go and find out the vacancies that we've got at AMICULUM, a website to go and find out a little bit more about AMICULUM and the other agencies, and an email to drop me a line if you need to. And I'll just say thanks very much for your attention.
Brilliant, thanks Matt. Can we just lose those slides? And then for the purpose of this presentation, we're going to say thank you very much. Thank you, Matt. For those of you watching this video, it's one of a series we recorded along with a panel discussion at our Meet the Agencies event in May 2020. You'll find all those videos and much more at FirstMedCommsJob.com. So please do check that out now. So for the moment, bye for now. Thanks, Matt.